Hello everyone, it's Melinda May. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to make a card using the Cool Treats stamp set and the birthday calendar stamp set. Now the Cool Treats stamp set comes with two stamp sets, and we are going to use the longer popsicle today. We are going to also do two cards at once. We're going to do a first generation and a second generation at the same time. And for the birthday calendar, we are going to use the sun right here stamp to make our background for our paper. Alright, I've already got the stamps out that we will be using. We also are going to have two bows that we made using our bow builder punch. I made them with sweet sugar plum and Oso saffron. One is for the first generation and one is for the second generation. We will bedazzle our little bows at the end with some enamels. I am using the Whisper white cardstock in 8s by 3 3/8 by 5. For one of the cards, we are using the Tangerine Tango. And the other card we are using Pumpkin Pie for the second generation. These are our backgrounds. Okay, so let's start with the stamping. So I'm going to do them at the same time since one is a first generation and the other one is a second generation card. So I'm going to start with Sweet Sugar Plum as the base because we're going to do two layers to our popsicle. I am starting with the Sweet Sugar Plum. It's the lighter one. And ink it up. Oh, that was loud. Ink it up. Put it on my card where I want it. Lift up. And then stamp the second card right after that. The second stamp is the second generation. You see how it's lighter? So it's going to be a lighter card. This is the first generation and this is the second because we stamped it second. I'm wiping it off because we are going to use this stamp and drying it. We're going to use it 2 more times. So that was Sweet Sugar Plum for our base on that one. Our second base is going to be Pumpkin Pie. So ink it up. Decide where I want it. Right there. Press down for the first generation. Stamp again on the second card for the second generation. Wiping the stamp off again because we're going to use this one more time. I'm going to dry it off. And I'm drying the stamp off using the Stampin' scrub. So I like to use the dry side when I'm using multiple inks for the same stamp. The next one is going to be Flirty Flamingo. So ink that up for my last popsicle. I'm going to do the first generation one first. And up. And then the second generation right afterwards. And up. So usually if you're going to do a second generation card right after the first generation, because that makes sense, right? It's right after. Then you want to pick an ink that is darker, so when it will show up on the second generation stamp. Alright. Now we're going to do the overlays. For all of these. Here is the overlay that I will be using, which goes over each one of the popsicles. We're going to go back to the Sweet Sugar Plum and we're going to put Rich Razzleberry right over it. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to stamp the first generation. Stamped up. And then we're going to line it up over our popsicle where we want. Stamp the first generation and then go down to the bottom and stamp the second generation. There we have that one. I'm wiping it off and then I will dry it because we're going to move on to the next popsicle stick. Dry it. Put the Rich Razzleberry away. And over the pumpkin pie is going to be Tangerine Tango. So ink that up. And I just stuck my hand in the ink, my thumb. I am a messy inker. Okay. Over the first generation. And down to the second generation. Put Tangerine Tango away. Wipe off my stamp. Dry it. And moving on to the Melon Mango, which is going over our Flirty Flamingo. Line it up, press down, up, and I didn't line it up very good on that one. And the second generation. Wiping off my stamp. Boy, I got this pink everywhere. And we're going to be done with the overlay. Put our colors away. I'm going to put this stamp away. And now we need little bottoms to our popsicle stick. So here's the little handle. Take this one off. It's going to be our background handle. And I'm going to use the spot that I got in my paper pumpkin. This is an early espresso color. I'm picking a darker brown because of the second generation. I want it to show up. So I do the stick for the first generation and then right back down to the second generation. I'm going to do that again 4 more times. Make sure it's inked up good for the first generation so it does show up on the second generation. There we go. Ink up. First generation. and second generation. Put that away. Alright, so we have a first generation popsicles and our second generation popsicles. I'm going to put those aside. I'm going to get the sun background. And I'm going to get our card bases. Now, the way I'm going to mount the cards are going to be in the upper right hand corner. So I will only need to have a background on the sides and the lower part. So, for the darker card, this is the Tangerine Tango, and I'm going to use Tangerine Tango ink for this card. So I'll ink it up and start my background. Ink up, background. And I'm just randomly stamping this, and I will go in and stamp a little double stamp right there just to make sure I have that edge. Turn it. Make sure we have this edging. One more right here. Okay, that should cover it for the tangerine. We're going to wipe off the tangerine because we'll need to use this on the other background. I'm not doing a second generation on this because I want to use the same ink as the paper. So moving the tangerine aside. Now I'll get my pumpkin pie. Oh, I'm sorry, peekaboo peach. It's peekaboo peach. I think I called it pumpkin pie earlier. It's peekaboo peach. And we're going to do the same thing for the background of this cardstock. All of it's going to be covered. I think that's going to be plenty of coverage. Probably went overboard on that one. Wipe my stamp off, and we're done with the background. And put the ink away. Alright, so now we have to just put our card together. So let me, of course, get out my trusty adhesive. My preference. I'll take the second generation, put some adhesive on the back, whatever adhesive you want. You could put foam tape if you want to pop it up, anything you want. And I'm going to put this towards the top edge, like I said before. And adhere it. There's that one. And we're going to do that again for the first generation. So you really get 2 cards in one when you stamp first and second generation. So now I'll have 2 popsicle cards ready to go out. There we go. And I'm just going to add a little bow down here. I'm going to use the, Sweet Sugar Plum on this one. And this is So Saffron on the softer card. Okay, so we just need to adhere that. I am going to use the medium size glue dots to do that. I'm putting a glue dot on each side of the bottom of the bow. And decide where to put it. I want to put it at an angle. There's that one. We'll do the same to the So Saffron. Put a medium glue dot on each end of the bottom of the bow. Move my first generation. And I also want to angle this bow. There we go. And then we're going to put a little bling on the bows. I have the metallic enamels for the So Saffron and the bright enamels for the Sweet Sugar Plum. So I'm just going to pick one of the enamels off. I'm using the circle, but you could use a heart, you could use a star, nothing at all. And then I'm going to use the gold enamel dot, and once again you can use the heart or the star. And then we have 2 cards, 1 stamp. Alright, thank you for watching. Have a good day.